Chapter 1. Routine is the greatest lie. There's a rhythm to life in the suburbs. Wake up, coffee, kiss your wife, go to work, come home, repeat. People think the repetition means safety, security. Like nothing could ever go wrong as long as the grass is mowed and the recycling's out by Tuesday. But routine is the perfect cover for betrayal. Thursday started the same as always. Rachel was already up, making tea, humming under her breath. She used to hum old rock ballads, Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles, even some Springsteen. Lately, though, her tune had changed. It was softer now, cautious, like she was trying to convince herself she was still happy. She handed me my travel mug and smiled. That smile. If you'd never lived my life, you'd think it was real. But I've spent too many years reading faces in war zones, in negotiation rooms, interrogation basements, and sniper nests, to miss what that smile really was. A mask. And it was slipping. Chapter 2. Who I used to be Jack Reeve. That's the name I've gone by for the last 12 years. But before the white picket fence and the general contractor license, I had other names. None of them I chose. Commander Reeve, Echo 6. And once, during an extraction in Chechnya, I was just called the American Ghost. I was a Navy SEAL, but not just any. I was on teams they didn't officially brief to Congress. Operations that technically never happened. Black sites, disappearances, things you don't talk about at neighborhood barbecues. I walked away from all of it, built a life out of sawdust and blueprints. Married the woman who gave me a reason to come home. Rachel. She didn't know the details. I never told her. Just that I served. Just that I saw things. She never asked for more. And that used to be enough. Chapter 3. A familiar kind of silence. The drive to our latest build site was smooth. The morning talk radio guys were ranting about city taxes, and I turned the volume down. I needed quiet. Not just outside, but inside. The kind of silence I only used to get after a kill. The kind that comes right before something goes wrong. My phone buzzed. Darren. Business partner. Friend. We met through a veterans contractor network after I got out. He had a silver tongue and the ambition to chase every deal. I had the discipline to make sure our projects didn't collapse under his dreams. Jack, hey, minor hiccup on the ledger job. You mind swinging by? His voice was too upbeat, forced. Be there in 20, I said. Chapter 4. Surface tension. Surface. The Ledger property was one of our flagship projects. Luxury lakefront, all glass and angles and smart home integration. Too expensive for anyone I grew up around. But Darren loved showing it off. When I pulled in, he was already outside, pacing. Jack, man, you're gonna love this. The kitchen is gonna sell this house all by itself. He was grinning like a lottery winner. But I wasn't looking at the kitchen. I was watching him. The new Rolex, the Gucci shoes, the scent, something imported, expensive. None of it matched our income. Our books were good, but not brag and GQ good. I didn't say anything, not yet, just nodded and let him talk. Because when people are guilty, they fill silence with words. And Darren was practically flooding the place. Chapter 5. A message from the void. Around noon, I stepped away to take a call. Blocked number. Normally I ignore those. But something in my gut made me answer. Static. Then a voice. Low. Cold. Commander Reeve, your fence is cracked. I froze. That voice. I hadn't heard it since Mosul. Who is this? No answer. Just the click of disconnection. No number to trace. No name. Just a warning. Or a threat. Maybe both. Chapter 6. A stranger at the dinner table. That night at home, Rachel made chicken marsala. Her specialty. The kind of meal she only cooked for anniversaries. Or apologies. She was trying to act normal. Trying to pretend. She poured wine, lit candles. We ate mostly in silence, except for the sound of her fork clinking too hard against the plate. She asked about my day. I told her about kitchen tiles. I didn't mention the phone call. I didn't mention the Rolex. I didn't mention the growing pit in my stomach that maybe, just maybe, She wasn't cooking this dinner for me, but for her own guilt. Chapter 7. The phone left unlocked. Rachel always locked her phone. Face ID. 6-digit passcode. I never asked, never needed to know. But that night, while she showered, I walked by the kitchen island and saw it. Screen up, unlocked, message open. From Darren. I keep thinking about last Thursday. Your lips. That moment. My heart stopped. Not because I didn't expect it, but because I did. I stared at that message for almost a full minute, long enough to feel my pulse in my teeth. Long enough to see red. I didn't touch it, didn't scroll. I just let the truth settle in. Then I walked away. Because rage is reactive, but revenge is planned. Chapter 8. I know what I saw. In bed, she curled up next to me like nothing had changed. I stared at the ceiling, feeling every breath she took. Wondering how long it had been going on, wondering what I'd missed. But I wasn't angry. Not the kind of anger that screams or throws things. I was cold, focused. I'd seen what betrayal does to men on the battlefield. Some crack, some drink, some blow their own heads off. But me? I survive. And then, I level the field. Chapter 9. One rule. Don't get emotional. The next morning, I started my plan. I didn't ask questions, didn't confront. I started documenting. Screenshots, voice recordings, locations, patterns. Because the difference between pain and power is what you do with it. I was going to make them think they were still winning, while I took everything. Chapter 10. A soldier never sleeps. I hadn't slept in days. Not really. I'd close my eyes and try, but the images would come like floodwater. Rachel's message from Darren, the soft laugh she gave him, the edge in his voice when he lied to me. But that wasn't all. I started remembering things I'd buried. Things from a life that was supposed to be over. The desert. The burn of sweat in my eyes. The sound a man makes when he's killed quietly. The blood in my boots. I'd trained for war, but not for peace. And peace was what had made me soft. Or maybe not soft. Just distracted. Now, I wasn't distracted anymore. Chapter 11. Protocol Wraith. The flash drive I found in my emergency kit wasn't standard issue. I remembered Wraith giving it to me before he disappeared into whatever part of the world needed disappearing. If you ever feel the floor crumbling under you, he said, this will remind you how to stand. Inside were names, old contacts, encrypted routes, and something called Protocol Wraith. It was a system. One designed for full erasure, not of someone else, of me. A way to disappear. Leave no trail. Fake your own end and become a ghost again. I wasn't sure I'd go that far, but it was comforting to know I could. Chapter 12. The day I followed her Friday afternoon. Rachel said she was going to her sister's for the weekend. Just need a little girl time, she said, brushing her hair behind her ear like she used to in college, back when she meant it. I kissed her goodbye, smiled, told her to enjoy herself. Then I waited 20 minutes and followed her. Not hard. She didn't know I swapped a GPS tracker into her rear taillight last week. She didn't drive to her sister's. She drove to a spa, one of those high-end places in the city where you can drop $2,000 for cucumbers and scented oil. But she didn't go inside. She parked, waited. And then Darren pulled up. Different car. Rental. Out-of-state plates. They kissed. Laughed. Held hands like we never existed. Then they drove off together. Chapter 13. The room with no name. They checked into a boutique hotel under the names Mr. and Mrs. Lake. Clever. We used to hike Lake View Trail together every fall. That was their inside joke. Using our memories as a disguise for their betrayal. I paid cash and got a room 2 floors above them. Spent the night listening through a parabolic mic. I heard them talk about me, about my routines, about when they'd make the move. They weren't just cheating. They were planning to erase me, take the company, clean out the accounts, sell the house, move to Costa Rica and live off what we built. Chapter 14. The Ghost Takes Notes. I started writing everything down. Times, words, phrases. I watched them order room service with my money, make love in the bed I paid for, talk about how easy it'll be once I was gone. They said it casually, like planning a garage sale. It didn't even sting anymore. What I felt wasn't heartbreak. It was calculation. Chapter 15. The War Room Reborn. The next morning, I left the hotel before they did. Back home, I converted the basement into what I used to call the box. When I was active, the box was my planning space. Floor-to-ceiling whiteboards, mission stacks, topographic maps. Now, it held a layout of my home. Rachel's daily schedule, Darren's financial activity, voice print recordings, cloned device logs. I labeled folders: primary target, Rachel secondary, Darren variable assets, legal, financial, digital timeline, D30, 30 days until extraction. Only this time, I was extracting myself and leaving their world in ashes. Chapter 16. Smiling at the enemy. Back at work, Darren acted like nothing was wrong. He made jokes, talked about new investments, even offered to buy me lunch. I took it, smiled, laughed at his stories, because predators wait for the right moment, and I was going to make him beg for the end. Later, he dropped his phone when a notification buzzed. I helped him pick it up, and while I did, I synced the Bluetooth to my tablet. Now I had his messages in real time. That night, he texted Rachel. "He's on to us," she replied. "Doesn't matter. Let him be on to us. He's not the same Jack anymore." They were right. I wasn't. Chapter 17. The Ticking Clock. I began Phase 1 of Protocol Wraith. Changed my passwords, moved funds to a hidden crypto wallet, hired a shell firm to start a fake audit at our company, one that would delay any major transactions. I began recording everything, not just for myself, but in case I had to disappear completely. Because once I moved, they'd come for me, or send someone else. I was prepared for both. Chapter 18. An Old Friend. 3 days later, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. "Meet me where the dead walk. Come alone." Only one person I knew ever referred to cemeteries like that: Wraith. I drove to Ashfield Memorial Park. He was waiting, sitting on a stone bench like he belonged to the shadows. He hadn't aged. Or maybe he had, just inward. "You activated it," he said without looking up. I nodded. He handed me a thumb drive. Contingency files, maps, escape routes, a new identity if you need it. I took it. "I'm not sure I'll go that far." "You will," he said. "If they push hard enough, you will." Chapter 19. Rachel's Final Mistake. That night, I watched Rachel pour herself a glass of wine. She sat on the back patio and called Darren. "I think we should speed things up," she said. "He's different. I think he knows more than he lets on." She wasn't wrong, but her mistake wasn't speeding things up. It was assuming I wouldn't strike first. Chapter 20. The trap is set. That weekend, I told Rachel I had to go on a supplier run out of state. She smiled, too eagerly. "Be safe," she said again, the same way she always did. While I was gone, I arranged for our home security feed to be rerouted. I left the front door unlocked, and I waited in the crawl space beneath the floorboards. It didn't take long. They came. Together. Laughing. Planning. I recorded every word. They started digging through my files, looking for documents, banking info, anything they could use to finish the job. They found the fake will I'd planted, naming a fictitious offshore account and executor. Rachel gasped. Darren grinned. "I told you," he said. "Easy." They left with it, and I had them. Chapter 21. Letting them hang themselves. Over the next 5 days, they wired money, filed paperwork, contacted someone named Marcus, probably a lawyer or fixer. They thought they were winning. But every message went through a relay server I controlled. Every step they took deeper into my trap. And still, I waited. Because the best revenge isn't instant. It's slow, precise, permanent. Chapter 22. Sunday Morning Restraint. The hardest part of revenge is not the action, it's the restraint. It was Sunday morning. The sun was slicing through the blinds, casting warm lines across the floorboards. Rachel was cooking pancakes, wearing my college hoodie like nothing had happened. Darren had just sent her a message. "It's almost done. Once the Cayman wire hits, we ghost." She didn't reply, just smiled at me, plate in hand. Blueberries or chocolate chips? I wanted to scream. Wanted to flip the table and drag her outside and show her the cameras, the files, the proof. But I didn't. Because there was still more to build. And in this game, structure matters more than speed. Chapter 23. Who I became. I stared at her and realized something. I wasn't Jack Reeve anymore. Not the builder. Not the husband. Not the man who once begged her to dance in the rain on our wedding night. I was something else now. Not exactly Echo 6 either. That man followed orders. That man killed because someone told him to. This version of me? He kills for his own reasons. And he does it slow. Chapter 24. A crack in their armor. Monday came fast, and with it, panic. Darren's car wasn't in the office lot. Rachel called out sick from her nonprofit. But I knew the real reason. The Cayman wire didn't go through, because it was never real. I created a fake offshore account, even had a dummy website. Their wire bounced, flagged, and the IRS got an anonymous tip. By noon, federal agents were at Darren's apartment. He wasn't there. He was at Rachel's. She texted him. "What do we do?" He replied, "We leave now. Pack one bag. I have cash. Go dark." I read the messages in real time. Then, I made my move. Chapter 25. The hotel revisited. They met at the same boutique hotel. Room 314 this time. New aliases. Mr. and Mrs. West. Original. I didn't follow them in. Instead, I delivered 2 packages to the front desk. One addressed to Rachel, one addressed to Darren, each with a burner phone, each programmed to play the same audio file when opened. Their conversation from my crawl space, their own voices, their own plan, their own proof. A timer started once they pressed play. 10 minutes later, I sent the same file anonymously to their lawyer. Then to Darren's parents, then to Rachel's boss. I didn't wait for their reaction, because their lives were already over. Chapter 26. Echoes in the dark. That night, I sat in the old storage container out behind our second build site. It was my temporary base now. No heat, no distractions, just steel and silence. I played back the file myself, not for fun, but to remind myself of what I'd lost, of what they chose. They didn't just fall out of love. They conspired. They turned my life into a business deal. But now they were assets to be neutralized. Chapter 27. The Unexpected Visitor. Around 0300 a.m. I heard a knock. No one knew I was here. No one should have. I grabbed my weapon, moved to the side of the door. Another knock. No voice, no footsteps. I swung it open fast. Empty. Except a single envelope taped to the wall. No name. Just a single line. "We see you. Proceed carefully." I scanned the area. Thermal goggles showed no one. No recent tire tracks. No footprints. Someone was watching me. Someone good. Maybe better than me. Chapter 28. Memory is a weapon. I started thinking about who it could be. Echo teammates, Wraith, agency remnants, or maybe Rachel had backup. People I didn't account for. But even as paranoia crept in, I stayed focused. Because memory is a weapon. And I'd been trained to never forget a face, a voice, a movement. So I locked the door, barricaded it, and went to work scanning my entire system for backdoors. Whoever they were, they knew what I was doing. And if they knew that, they either wanted me to finish it or wanted me to stop. Chapter 29. The detonation point. The next day, the bomb went off. Not a real bomb, but a reputational one. Darren was arrested. Money laundering, wire fraud, conspiracy. He shouted Rachel's name during the arrest. I didn't do it alone. She was in it too. Rachel was picked up hours later. She cried, said she was manipulated, said she had no idea what Darren was doing. The feds didn't care. Their lives were a crime scene now. But mine was finally clean. Chapter 30. The final visit. 3 days passed, then 5, then 10. I didn't leave the container except to shower at a gym downtown, eat, refuel. Then I got the message. Rachel wanted to meet. No lawyers, no police, just me. I agreed. I chose a public bench in a park we used to visit. She looked smaller, hair pulled back, makeup gone. Just Rachel, but not the one I remembered. Not the one I loved. Just the shell of a person who helped burn my life down. Chapter 31. No closure, just exit. Why? She asked. Not how, not when, just why. I looked her in the eye, because she deserved truth, even if it cut deeper than any lie. Because I gave you my whole life, I said, and you sold it for wine and empty promises. Tears welled, but I didn't flinch. I stood up. No revenge, no apology, no closure. You're just gone now. Then I walked away. She didn't follow. She knew it was over. But what she didn't know was that the man who walked away wasn't Jack Reeve anymore. Jack died the day she chose Darren. Chapter 32. The Cost of Peace. The strange thing about revenge, once it's done, there's no applause, no parade, no peace. Just silence. And I know silence. Too well. Rachel was out on bond, hiding somewhere with no job, no money, and no story that anyone believed. Darren was in holding, denied bail. Our company, dismantled, seized in investigation. Clients suing each other. Employees confused and scared. And me? I sat alone in that storage unit, reading a book I couldn't focus on, drinking black coffee that tasted like ash, and wondering if this is what justice really felt like. Because it didn't feel like victory. It felt like survival. Chapter 33. Wraith returns. 2 weeks passed, then he showed up again. Wraith. Same dark hoodie, same impossible stillness in his walk. We met in the alley behind the boxing gym I used to train at. You look like hell, he said. I feel worse. He lit a cigarette and leaned against the dumpster. You pulled it off, wiped them clean. But that wasn't the job. I frowned. What do you mean? You're compromised, Reeve. They're watching now. You stirred too many graves. Who's watching? He just looked at me. Come on, man. You know the rules. You don't get to burn down your civilian identity and just exist. There's a vacuum now, and they want to fill it, with or without you. Chapter 34. The Echo Files Wraith handed me a flash drive. Same kind of drive we used back when missions were written in code and burned minutes later. I loaded it into the old laptop. Dozens of profiles. Some I recognized, some I thought were dead. But one folder was labeled Echo 6 Asset Termination Protocol. Inside was a photo of me, recent, dated 3 days after Rachel's arrest. There was a bounty, not public, not government, but real. You've got 2 options, Wraith said. Run or fight. I closed the laptop. I've never been good at running. Chapter 35. Training the Ghost. I moved into a new safe house, old cinderblock garage with a false floor and an abandoned apartment above it. I stopped shaving, stopped talking, started training. Push-ups, knife drills, firearm breakdowns, memory recall tests. Wraith visited every few days, brought intel, sometimes gear. We didn't talk much. There was nothing left to say. Because I wasn't Jack Reeve anymore, and I wasn't Echo 6 either. I was something new, a shadow that remembered too much and trusted too little. Chapter 36. Breadcrumbs and black vans. Then it started. First, a voicemail I didn't recognize. A voice I'd heard before but couldn't place. You should have stayed asleep, Jack. Click. Then, a black van parked across from the gym. Same one every night. Lights off. No plates. Then, my face appeared on a deep web thread. Captioned, Ghost Asset Detected. Observe only. No contact. Observe only? That meant they were studying me, not to kill, but to recruit or destroy. Either way, it meant they still thought I was useful. Big mistake. Chapter 37. The red folder Wraith dropped one last file before disappearing again. This one was red. No markings. Inside were 5 names, all known to me. All still active in the programs we were told were dismantled. One name had a red circle around it. Mara. She was more myth than soldier, a ghost among ghosts. She was the one they sent when something needed to vanish. Forever. And now, she was in the city, tracking me. Chapter 38. The final chapter of the beginning. I stood on the rooftop of my new safe house that night. City lights blinking in a pattern only chaos could love. The wind was cold, sharp, honest. My phone buzzed once. An encrypted ping. Coordinates. I tapped into it. A live video feed. Rachel. Bound. Blindfolded. Sitting in the back of a moving vehicle. Then a voice. Distorted. You cleaned your house. Now we're cleaning you. Click. Signal lost. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I packed a duffel, loaded 2 sidearms, and walked out the door. Because even when someone deserves to burn, you don't let them light the match. Not when it's your fire to start. Chapter 39. The hunter wakes. They wanted me to chase, to react, to lose control. But I wasn't chasing Rachel. I was hunting the people who thought I'd let them touch her. She may have betrayed me, but that was my decision to settle, not theirs. And now, they'd stepped into a war they didn't understand. Chapter 40. Heat map. I tapped into Wraith's stolen satellite node. Ran facial rec on the interior of the van. Pulled up traffic cams, matched infrared, compared timestamps. 12 minutes. That's how far ahead they were. I could close that gap in half. I took the back routes, riding silent in a burner SUV I'd stashed weeks ago. 2 Glocks, a SIG MCX in the trunk, 3 mags, and a purpose. By the time I crossed under Highway 62, I had the exact exit coordinates. A warehouse, abandoned since 2013. Perfect. They wanted a quiet place to erase her. Instead, they invited a monster home. Chapter 41. 38 minutes. I parked 5 blocks away, on foot in 3 minutes, perimeter check in 2. 2 guards, Eastern European accents, ARs with red dot sights, standard X-Mercs, not elite, good. They'd die quickly. I moved through the drainage tunnel on the south end. Used a breaching wedge to snap the lock. Inside. 3 corridors, poorly lit. Voices down the hall. Laughter. They didn't know who she was, or who I was, even after all this time. They still underestimated me. Chapter 42. The reunion. I found her in a chair, tied, head down, still breathing, blood on her cheek, split lip. Rage bloomed, but I pushed it down, cleared the space. 4 guards, handled in silence, 1 by garrote, 1 with the blade, 2 by suppressed fire. I freed her wrists. She looked up, eyes red, shock on her face. Jack? I didn't say a word, just pulled her to her feet and walked her out. Chapter 43. The betrayer's confession. Back at the safe house, she cried. Tried to explain. Said Darren manipulated her. Said she was scared. Said she thought I'd changed. That I'd never be that man again. Then she said something that made my blood freeze. They told me. They'd kill you if I didn't help them. I stared at her. Who? Them. The ones who trained you. The ones who built Echo 6. They came months ago. Said you had files. That you were a liability. They gave Darren a deal. Money, protection, and they gave me a choice. Chapter 44. The Forgotten Order. And suddenly, it made sense. This wasn't just betrayal. It was a setup. Rachel didn't just cheat. She was turned. Used. Weaponized. They knew I'd unravel the lie. Knew I'd come back into the shadows. And they wanted it. Because somewhere inside me, there's still a file. Still a secret. Something I don't even remember. But they do. And they want it erased. Chapter 45. No such thing as safe. Rachel's breathing was shaky. Her hands trembled. I didn't want this, she whispered. I swear to God, Jack. I believed her. And I didn't. Because the woman I married is gone. And the one sitting across from me? She's a casualty of the same war I walked away from. But even casualties have consequences. Chapter 46. Extraction Route Alpha. I activated Protocol Wraith fully. Fake passports. Unregistered burner flight booked. Route to Quebec, then Iceland, then off-grid. I told Rachel to come with me. She refused. I can't run again, she said. Not after what I did. If you survive, come find me. If you don't let them make me forget who you were. I nodded once. We didn't kiss, didn't cry. I just walked out, without looking back. Chapter 47. The call from Echo. At the airport, my burner buzzed. One word, Mara. Then, Kuwait, 48 hours, debrief, or we find you. I stared at it for a long time, because they weren't giving me a choice anymore. They were pulling me back in, and I was ready. Chapter 48. The new name. My boarding pass read, Reed Jackson. But inside, I wasn't Jack Reeve. Wasn't Echo 6. I was something else now. Something built by betrayal, shaped by silence, fueled by memory, and this wasn't redemption, this was war. This was just the beginning. Episode 2 of Silent Redemption is ready now. Episode 3 and 4 will drop next week. Don't miss what Echo buried or what's coming back to life. Please like, comment, and subscribe so you can stay up to date with new episodes and stories from the Honor and Vengeance channel. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment below on what types of stories you would like to hear in the future.